Yeah, well, I remember Justice League coming out, and then first thing they said John Stewart, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this. And that's the first thing. And then when I seen Dwayne McDuffie was involved, I'm like, oh, I'm really gonna like this. And I wasn't disappointed at all. It is one of those shows where you wish it could have kept going. It's still relevant today.
Yes.
Justice League Unlimited, and Static Shock are they are telling stories that are still very relevant today.
And doing that on kids' cartoons back then was rare.
Right.
That part.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, because in the old days, most people didn't consider cartoons art. They were just, programming for merchandising. We're just trying to sell the damn toys.
Yeah. We've seen that trend where a cartoon will come out, it's great, but because you couldn't get the toy licensing, it ended up being canceled. And I said that's a shame, because you're taking away potentially good cartoons just for the sake of the dollar, and you're putting, pardon my French, absolute garbage out there because you can sell it as a game or as a toy or whatever.
That was English.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, that was English.
Chris, did I tell you? Oh, that's funny, Nate, that you said that, because there's a story about that regarding Static Shock. Did I tell you that already, Chris?
No.
Oh, we get an exclusive story. Let's go. We get an exclusive story.
Before you tell that story, people out there in IG, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you're watching the show, understand that we somehow always get these great stories. Tune in. Phil, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, and this is, again, another sign of the progress we've made. But back in the late 90s, when they were, pitching the Static Shock show based on the Milestone comic, not a DC comic. Well, if it's a cartoon, we got to get a toy. So they went to the toy company and brought the character designs and the premise and everything. And the toy company said, nah, we don't really see a market for a character like that.
That is the most consistent.
There's something I would say right about now, but I can't say it because we got company.
Right. But we all know exactly what they meant.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason.
I ain't part of Bird's Eye View. I'll say it. I ain't part of Bird's Eye View. I'll say it.
Yeah. Look, Nick, I don't care.
But that decision to not have merch was one of the reasons that after 4 seasons of being the top-rated show on that on its Saturday morning network thing, Static Shock got canceled because it wasn't making them no extra money. Now, and so we were the top-rated show and had won a Humanitas Award for that episode about the kid in the high school with the gun.
Yes, I remember
this was
that.
high quality stuff, but like I said, back then they didn't care about quality in cartoons. It was just about Toys R Us.
Yeah, Chad didn't care,
Right.
Ridge and Thorn didn't care.
Yeah, seeing episodes
merchandising.
seeing episodes like that, and the one with Richie's dad, you find out Richie's dad's racist.
Right,
baby.
Literally, I'm in the bed watching it, and I'm like, "Yo, we here? Okay." Oh wow. And
right.
I'm
the fact that somebody made that episode before the term woke even existed.
Yeah.
Facts.
And it's the way they resolve things and bringing in Anansi, and I'm like, people don't know about these characters, and I'm here for it. And just seeing all this it's not inclusion, it's representation. Seeing this representation and seeing this character really deal with issues, whether it's school, whether it's home, whether it's the bully, like seeing a character and having a positive influence with his father and the normal back and forth with his sister. You can tell it's the back and forth, but they still love each other, of course. And just seeing that energy, and you're just like, I'm glad we have this.
Yeah. Well, that's what made the show so great, was the way they told those stories. I mean, because the show was about a black superhero, but it wasn't about the fact that he was black. Every episode wasn't black, 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 but it was about this person's life in a real way. You know, so he dealt with his racist, you know, his friend's racist father, because that might be something that would happen to somebody like that. And the Static Goes to Africa episode.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because back then that kind of story would have been considered a reference to the Shaft movie or the Richard Pryor bit.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah.
You know, so those were real black things. And you know, you feel like, you know, in a lot of, you know, networks back then would go, but with Static Shock, they got that done.
Yeah. And you know, even at that age when I was watching it, you know, I said, "Oh, we here now." And at the same time, you know, when you hear people say, "Oh, they shouldn't do that," I'm like, "We just watched Spider-Man and Mary Jane threw herself out the window just to see if it was actually Peter." You know, I'm like, "You want to talk about toxic right now?" So one's trying to solve an issue, another one is becoming one. So, so when you seeing those,
do you love me? What did they?
What does that even mean? You know, so when I was seeing stuff like that, and even in the comics, and seeing that they have this family dynamic around Virgil, right? And I'm saying we need to see more, and we're seeing that more, especially with a lot of black indie artists, and we shout them out every show, and seeing that this isn't that, oh, he's growing up in a tough neighborhood. No, his father's a working man. His sister goes to school. He's smart. You know, so this is why when I see shows like Craig of the Creek, and I sit back and I'm just like, this is just fun because that was my childhood. Not that extreme, but that was my childhood. You know,
close enough.
You know, going out. Hey, Mom, we're going out to play. We'll be back later in the day. You know, we fell in the mud and everything else, and there was always that creepy kid. You know, it was just it was always some level of stuff. So when I see stuff like that, and I'm like, this is just.
Our life was Ed, and Eddie. Okay, there weren't any adults around. From the time we left until the time we had to beat that street light. Okay, you know. Okay.
I'm glad Lord Stryker says it because this was on my mind too. He said even Static meeting his future self in the Batman Beyond episode. Right.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah,
that still was wild. Just good writing.
Well. Had I not been in a recording booth with Billy West before that, I don't know if I could have done that episode. I'm gonna play 3 characters talking to themselves.
The level of talent, but see, it speaks to your talent. It speaks to your level of talent.